Condega Bomberos project began in 2004 when the mayor of Condega came to the city of Bend to sign Sister City agreement. And he had gone to a fire station. One of the firefighters got a hold of me and ended up sitting down with the mayor of Condega, and he talked about their need. Ultimately, I went there to visit in January of 2005 and saw the need and came back and put together a group of people that were interested and formed a nonprofit and started gathering equipment and donations and continued from there. They didn't have a fire department. They didn't have a lick of fire equipment, yet they had a fire chief. And I thought, these people have a lot of desire to have a fire chief. And that's something that struck me as it's not just, we don't just want somebody to come here and plop it down. We've thought this through a lot and we're ready to go. We're ready to hit the ground running. In the 5 years, I've seen a lot of changes in the city itself. It seems like every time I've been back, there's a little bit more growth. But now with the fire department, what I'm really seeing is how excited they are about that and working with the firefighters and seeing their enthusiasm, and particularly in the younger people, not just the ones that had signed up with the anticipation, but the ones that now it's here. They're really excited about the future, and it's nice for them to have to be able to have a future to look toward and aspire to being firefighters. ERSLA came about, in my mind, by just sort of the perfect storm of a bunch of people that realized that while a project like the Condega project had great results, they weren't being optimized. To build a fire department makes sense, but to have other people involved in the process where excess equipment is sequestered for other departments, there's sort of a synergy, and that's really what ERSLA is about, is making things a whole lot better than working as a single entity.
ERSLA, one reason why we came up with the name Emergency Response Services for Latin America is through the research that I had done, I realized many projects thought too small. The names would be for a city or they would be for a country, and if they had success, it was very difficult to move beyond that. The dream is to see this project move into other areas of Latin America, not just Nicaragua. There's lots of need throughout the continent. The difference in ERSLA is working to become a network, and we're working with many different NGOs and trying to find a way to make all of their projects run smoother. There's a lot of people out there with great ambition and big hearts that want to help, but it's not always followed through in the way that they wish, or it starts out, the projects they work on may start out as a good project, but it's missing something. It needs a little more effort, it needs a little more of a push. It may need a little bit more research. It may need someone on the ground that's able to go over and physically see what's missing. And that's what ERSLA is trying to provide. We're trying to provide a little deeper understanding to find out what really is missing, not just what's understood in a 1 or 2 week trip.
When I heard that concept, I thought that's exactly what I would like to be involved in, except I don't have the time. And luckily we have Rodney McDonald on the ground in Nicaragua that's able to, knows the people, speaks the language, knows the system, and that's really what makes us tick. I
came to Nicaragua the first time in 2002 as a Peace Corps volunteer, and was here from 2002 to 2004. And I noticed at the time that there was not a whole lot of emergency response services in the area. There would be forest fires, there would be accidents in the community I lived in. It would take hours to respond, and some of the forest fires would just have to burn themselves out. They had nothing to control anything, and smoke would come in for days. So I knew there was an issue. I moved back here in 2008 and went up into a community called Jalapa, which is up near the border of Honduras, and noticed that the nearest emergency response system for the community is about an hour and a half away in a town called Ocotal. Originally, we were looking at building a station, but realized building a station would only add to more of the problems. The problem was there was not a lot of connection within the system. So I heard about the Bend Firefighter Foundation and the Condega Bomberos project, and heard about Mark Taylor, and we got in contact. And what I was really wanting to do is take the success that's happened in Condega and find ways to spread that success throughout other parts of the country.
We're not just dropping literally like I did, drop into town and help one town, which is great if you have a lot of people. But there are a lot of other projects out there, and we want to bring those players together so those players know each other. The equipment gets distributed more equitably, and we're quite certain that we're going to help that process.
One of the reasons why I'm working on this project is because I feel that if there's a way to save a life, it should be done. And there's a lot of people that take for granted the safety that we have in the United States and other parts of the world as well. And there's a lot of equipment that's not being used, and there's people down here that could desperately use it.
We're not buying new equipment. We're helping supply equipment that's donated that otherwise would not be used.
A human life in Nicaragua is just as valuable as a human life in the United States or anywhere else in the world. It doesn't have anything to do with geographical borders or political borders. It has to do with human life. And if there's a way that we can get equipment or we can get supplies or training to someone to help keep someone alive, it should be done. There's no debate about that.
Well, the short story, and this sounds maybe a little over the top, but I don't think it is, that if we don't do this, people die. The fact of the matter is they don't manufacture fire trucks in Central America. They don't manufacture turnout equipment in Central America. So it's going to get there with our help. To me, fire service and emergency services is it's a right. It's a human right that people ought to have. And that, coupled with the desire that the people in Condega showed me when I was down there, just made it an absolute perfect fit. I guess the biggest thing for me, honestly, is the friendships that I've developed over the years in the area. And I really feel pretty much at home when I've gone back there, and the way I'm treated and the way I feel there, and to see them and know that I've left that place with in really good shape with the fire department, with all the help that we've gotten, makes me just feel wonderful. We know that we're saving lives. With what we've done has saved lives, and that's what the donations do. Those donations are going to help us grow and help us do more for the people here in Nicaragua.
There's a lot of things that people can do. Besides firefighters and other emergency personnel that can come down and do training or help look for equipment, people can walk into their own fire stations in their communities, whether they're firefighters or not, and they can ask if there's any equipment that's available. They can motivate firefighters in their community. We can provide them with tools needed to be able to bring the awareness to others. Volunteer vacations, it's a great opportunity for people to come down and spend time with their families doing something to help others. People can organize fundraisers. We are an NGO, we do need money, we do have to have gasoline, we do have to have food, we have to have logistical needs and administrative cost. So there's always a need for funds. It's a way to really donate and still be able to know that the donation is going directly towards something that's providing some benefit.
You know, just at the end of the day, you know, when you go to you turn out the lights, or at the beginning of the day when you look yourself in the mirror for the first time, it's what have you done, or what are you going to do to help people, and how's your help going to impact? And what I know and what I've seen here is that we've made a lot of difference in people's lives. If you're somebody that donates money and if you know it's going to go somewhere, we know it's going to save lives and improve communities.
It's a place that gets overlooked. A lot of people can't find it on a map. And that makes it more important, I feel, that someone needs to be here doing this. And so I can't think of anything else I would want to do in the world.